Alright guys, so welcome back again to another YouTube video here on Rustic Automotive. Today it is a case where we will be looking into this BMW 328i xDrive. Customer recently had a bad transfer case control module. Well, the entire transfer case was actually bad, as a matter of fact, and he had recently replaced it with a used unit. Previously, unfortunately, I never recorded that, but previously, it is a case where I was on an older version of PSDZ data. I had coded the transfer case into the car with the latest shipment that was available at the time. However, I have now updated that, so you will see where there's a new coding file that is available, and we will be updating that module again. Currently we're reading out the vehicle data or the vehicle information with ISTA. This is being done over Ethernet cable on an M1 MacBook Air running a virtual copy of Windows 11. More information on that can be found in previous videos that have been posted. Alright. On top of that, we're going to also be doing an update, bringing some of the modules to their target versions, the latest target versions available for 2023 based on the software level it is that I'm running. You'll see that my PSDZ data is at 4.43.10. So that is the latest shipment that it is that I'll be able to provide up into, I think it is sometime in 2023 here. That being said, it is a case where we will be going through various modules here, and they were going to be deleting some file codes and that kind of thing. The TCB, we're going to try to restore that out of programming abort. It is missing a FLSL file, which is known as the file slave. It runs with the bootloader to get the module up and running and to be read by the main computers in the car. However, it's a case where that module is not responding any at all. It is stuck in programming abort. So we're going to try and get that done. And we're going to be updating the TRSVC. We're going to be updating the LMV FR, which is also known, well, you'll see it on the control unit tree list there of modules. That is going to be shown as the VTG. Slip me. So right here, I believe this is the telematics communications box, the TCB. In ISTA, in ESYS, it's read out as the ATM. You will see there where there are some unknown files: the bootloader, the coding file, which is the CAFD, the hardware file, which is the HWEL, the SWFL, which is the software file, but there is no FLSL file, which is a file slave file. You will later see in ESYS that there's some modules that have the file slave. For example, the amplifier has one. So there's no file slave file there, and because of that, it is in programming abort. Right. So right here, I'm just saving the necessary information from the readout here that we have in ISTA for this module, and from there it will be a case where we will do some further diagnosis and see what can happen in programming. Alright, so here are the fault codes that are being read out. Alright, so you see that there is a TCB internal control unit fault, and that is because the file slave is missing. The other faults that are there really and truly is related to the FEM. There's a aerial disconnection that is in the rear bumper, and pretty much everything else is in relation to the TCB. As a matter of fact, the customer was here with me during this period, so part of this recording where you will see me stop at certain areas is questions that was being answered to the customer so that I could show him a few things. So here we're starting ESYS, and in ESYS we are going to be reading out the vehicle order. We're going to read out the ISTA and also calculate the target, or the SVT actual is what we're going to read out also, and then calculate the target from there. So this is an F30, it falls under the F20 designation in ESYS, and we're going to connect through VIN, and we're going to read out the parameters from the VCM. Takes a little while to connect, and after connection you see it reads out our I-step shipment and that kind of thing. Now we're going to head to expert mode, go to the VCM, head to master, and we're going to read out the I-steps, and you will see there that it's the 15th of July. Alright, 2015 July. We're going to read out the FA and the FP. We're going to activate or calculate the FP, which is the vehicle profile, and we're going to go to file and we're going to save both of them. Alright, now I already had the FA from the previous work that I did, but I'm going to overwrite that file. Now we're going to be saving the FP. Now the reason why I made a separate copy of these is because I wanted to go back after it is that I have done some work and have a separate file that is not mixed up with the original that may cause any issues. So now we're going to load the files that are needed. So that is vehicle profile, we're going to calculate it. Well, the vehicle order, we're going to calculate it, and we're going to read from the VCM. Alright, you can see that our target shipment for the I-step is 2307,530. So we are upgrading it all the way from 2015. Now here you will see that in the ATM you see the same readout that you saw in ISTA, where there is no FLSL file. When we calculate the SVT target, then you will see where it is going to show that that file is missing. First, we're going to save the actual readout of the SVT. Then we're going to calculate the target. Takes a little while to calculate this target. In this time, let me take the opportunity to also say that it is a case where it is not particularly easy to just, get the FLSL file. 9 times out of 10, if you check any of the forums or anything like that, they will tell you that you might as well just throw away the module and get a new one. All right. You will see later on that it is a case where we did fail in terms of being able to restore the TCB. There is one trick left in the book that I have not tried yet, but it is a case where I basically believe that the guy is going to have to get a new unit where that is concerned. Right. However, we did successfully get to update the other modules that were requested of us. So let's just give this some more time to calculate the target file. Yeah, this does take a little while to calculate, especially for this vehicle it did. Let me also add in that because that file slave file is missing. It's calculated. Good. So if you look down at the ATM, you will see that right under the CAFD file there is an FLSL file. Because that file is missing, it will not calculate the TAL. It is going to say that it fails, right? So what we had to do is we had to go ahead and make some edits to the files that that was generated, right? And from there, what we were able to calculate the TAL that was needed. So if you look at the AMPT, which is the amplifier, in black you will see the FLSL file. You may have to scroll back a bit to see that there, but in the ATM you don't see it. All right, we're going to collapse the list and open the ATM so that you can have a better view of that singular module that we're looking at. So the only file that is in the ATM that remains the same is the hardware file, which it is supposed to be that way by proxy. All right, but the bootloader gets an update, coding file gets an update, and anything all those unknown files are the software files, but that FLSL file should have been there. If the file slave file does get an update, it is considered to be an FLUP, which is now going to be considered to be a file slave update, right? But that file slave file is not supposed to be missing. At this point, I was expressing pretty much the same thing that I just said here to the customer. He was asking some questions. Hence the reason for the voiceover for this video, because he did not want to be included in the recording of the session. So that is the reason for this being voiced over, to give some context as to what it is that is taking place. So now we're going to be saving this file here, separate from that which has been saved already, and going to give it a little tweak to its name so that we know exactly what it is. And then from there we are going to be moving on to editing the target file. So here you see we go to edit the target file and we're in the SVT editor. We're going to go down to the ATM and we're going to go down to that file slave. Now what I did here is I edited it and tried to change it to an update, and I know I may receive a whole lot of negative comments for this, but here is how it processed to me. And you will see it change here as an FLUP, right? So here was my thought process in this situation. If the file slave file is there somewhere on the TCB, otherwise known as the ATM, but it is corrupt, then if we do the update, then potentially it will help to repair it. However, in the end, you will see where that does not work. Now, since we did that edit there, we were able to calculate the TAL. Prior to doing so, the TAL would not be calculated because it would say that the file slave file is missing and is not found anywhere in the PSDZ data. On the forums, you will see a lot of people asking if they can get those files from somebody. Nobody has those files because they come on the module, right? They can only be updated. As it is here, you see where it's a case where we've calculated the TAL. We're now into the TAL processing and we are selecting our SVT target file that has been edited, and we're also going to be selecting our FA, which is otherwise known as the vehicle order. And after that, we're going to select the one module. So you see that there's a bootloader flash and there is a deploy and, well, a couple files that is going to have to be flashed to it. Now I'm going to tell you from now that it's going to fail and fail miserably at that too, because as soon as it tries to update the bootloader, then that is where it is that is going to pick up that the update file for the file slave is not matching to the file slave file that should be there, because it is not there. And since it is not there, then there's nothing to update, and then the bootloader is not able to complete the update either, and as such it becomes a throwable, right? So this module doesn't really take too long to update, and especially considering that it crashed, it took an even shorter time. Alright. Now, when the bar turns red, it means that something went wrong. All of that will be displayed in logs. If the bar turns green, then that means that your update went well and everything is good. Alright, you can see here we're in the bootloader flash. There it is going on about its progress being at 0%. Then it becomes a throwable because it is not going past 0%, and it tells us exactly why it is. Alright, so that there was a negative response. And there we go, got a red bar. so it was not successfully finished. All right, so at this point, the next best thing to do is it was late in the night, as a matter of fact, and we were not recommended, but this was being done on just the car's battery alone, right? I'll put it out there. It is ideal that when doing this kind of work, to have a stable power supply that is giving a constant 50 amps minimum to the car so that you can do programming. And something that not a lot of people highlight is you have to make sure that the battery is also fully charged or in very good condition before you apply that constant 50 amps or more to the car. Otherwise, it is, well, I mean, you can tell what happens when you put a whole lot of load on a battery that is almost flat. It does cause a chemical reaction, right? Right here, what we're doing is just saving the log file, right, for our own personal purposes and future use when needs be. And after that, we will move on to seeing what can be done for the updates of the other modules. So we're gonna go back to the ECU, and then from there we'll be updating modules again. This time we're going to be heading all the way down, and we're going to select the LMV. And as I said, the LMV was previously coded to the car, or programmed, or encoded rather, so that it could work with the car. We've gone to comfort mode just to show you and show the customer what it is that is going to be done. He was asking about how it is that, you know, he has no errors with the car now that I dealt with it last time. So how is it that it needs an update again? So I was explaining to him what is what, and we're just going to be doing that. Check the software availability, says it's okay, and we're going to do that. Shouldn't take more than about 3 to 5 minutes to have something like this done. So that's exactly what we did. So we hit start, and then from there coding takes place. During this period of time, it is a case where constantly I was in and out of the car because I went to check to verify. Great, coding goes through, you see that there, and we go ahead and we save the log file again. Now it is a case where I was in and out of the car because I constantly went to ensure that the battery voltage was not dropping below a certain level. So I do apologize for the lengthy, waits before selecting certain options. After this, I went to read out the ECU, and then that will show the customer there everything is in black, which means that not only did the update go successfully, but after reading the ECU, it shows the customer that, hey, it is updated, all is well. Now, the next thing that I believe we did was we did the TRSVC, and I believe we also did the touch box. Those were the two modules, the three modules that he wanted to update. Customer says he wants to update the car bit by bit. He has some other personal things that he wants to sort out, so I gave him all the modules that need to be updated and how quickly they can be updated. and he decided that these are the ones that he wanted to do. So at another point in time, he will be coming back to get the rest of them sorted out, and from there we can record and give an update where that is concerned also. So touch box is being updated right now, and as you see, it should take just about 3 minutes, and this was a successful flash also. Alright, so another successful flash, and from here we're basically going to save this log. We're going to then head to comfort mode, and after heading to comfort mode, we read the ECU again. This is mostly for the purpose of showing the customer, since he wanted to see step by step what it is that takes place. We head back to comfort mode, read the ECU, show the customer that everything is in black, for his, peace of mind. It's the first time he's doing something like this, and he's not used to seeing all the lights on the car flashing and this and that, so he thinks the car is being broken. But this is what we have to do to keep customers happy, So you see the TBX currently in blue, red, and black. Read it again. Touch box is updated. And the next thing that we take on is the TRSVC. So we prepare our files here for that. Check the software availability again, and we hit start, and it's more of the same. It's gonna read out everything. Should take about 4 or 5 minutes to flash, and then from there we should see our green bar. For those who are interested, um, it is commonly known that ESYS can be used and is used with the F chassis to do programming and that kind of thing. Um, it is also a case where, though it is not commonly spoken of, then yes, this kind of thing can be done, not with ESYS, but with other software for the E chassis. So those guys out there with their E9X, chassis, the E6X chassis, E7X chassis, and so on, that have modules to be updated, coding that needs to be done, and all that kind of thing. All you need is a KD cable and a laptop. And just like how with ESYS, it is that you can connect remotely, do coding, diagnostics, and that kind of thing. I do offer that same kind of service with the E chassis also. So just like how for the F chassis, all you need is an Ethernet cable and a laptop. Same principle applies for the E chassis. So just something to put out there. There are those that don't really look into that kind of thing. A lot of people don't know that it is really possible to do that. However, that is a service that is offered. You don't need to have any software that you have installed on a computer. I do everything remotely for you, and all is well. Alright, so we're coming to the end of this, and there we go. We have another green bar, and that signals a good end to the TRSVC. This is for the surround view camera on the car. So when you hit reverse, you have the front camera, the top view camera, the rear view camera. That is what this module is for. Alright, so we're going to go ahead again. We're going to save this and drop it in our text file there. So that is what it really takes to do this kind of thing in ESYS. Alright, and if you watched one of the previous videos that I made, it shows where it is that you don't have to have a whole lot of space on your computer to do this kind of thing. So you see the TRSVC is now in black, and basically what is going to be done at this point is to disconnect from ESYS. So we're going to head back to ISTA because there's going to be quite a few fault codes that are going to be shown inside there. Alright, in ISTA now, there is we're going to pretty much have to read over the car again after we connect back through ENIT, and we are going to see where there's going to be quite a few modules that come up in yellow, and we're going to go through those fault codes. Then we're going to delete the fault codes, and we work with what it is that comes back. All right. Alright, so here we are. We're going to look at the codes that are there. DME says transport mode active, but you see that it's non-existent. Most of these codes are non-existent. So we're going to go ahead, delete the fault memory. None of those codes had anything to do with anything negative per se that has not been addressed. except for the existing fault codes that was already there for the TCB and the FEM. Alright. Because of the issues with the TCB, then it will also cause faults in the car in the head unit and in the combi, because it is going to send an SOS malfunction message to the head unit and also in the combi. So those units will show yellow after the customer starts to drive the car. There's a permanent fault in the FEM because of the hardline disconnection in the bumper. But until then, every module will show yellow except for the show green except for the FEM and the TCB. Alright. Now we will see that when we go back to look at the fault memory, there is going to be an SAE fault that is stored. Not quite sure why it is that stayed there. However, after clearing all faults and giving the car a little drive down the road, about a 5-minute drive, and come back and we checked faults, then that SAE code disappeared. So there you see the permanent SAE fault at the bottom there. After this, we end up going through and calculating the measures plan so that we could go through the various ABLs that are needed to ensure that it is that the issues that may exist on the software side of things are non-existent. But as it stated, we went through those ABLs in ISTA. Nothing turned out to be anything serious. All of the ECUs that we did program, when we checked them, it was shown where it is a case where the ECUs were working perfectly, and all of the numbers that it is that came on all of those necessary files were matching up with what is in ISTA. So that shows us that we did a good job. And then from there, it is a case where, as stated, we went for a little drive, make sure that everything is working. No, issues with the all-wheel drive system, since it is that the main thing for him was getting the transfer case sorted out, and that was already done. Alright, so no more lights on the dash or anything like that. So as it stands right now, until he fixes the TCB, then he will continue to get the SOS malfunction message. Other than that, there is nothing else at all that will show up on his dash or anything like that for any other fault. All is well where that is concerned. He'll be coming back shortly, maybe in a few days' time, to get the rest of the modules updated, at which point we will have the car on a battery maintainer, giving it a constant 80 amps based on that battery maintainer that it is that we have. And from there we will be doing a few more updates. He wants to change from ID5 to ID6 for his head unit, and he also wants to update his navigation, as it is a case where he does have a head-up display. So he wants to update the maps so that will include some other features in the heads-up display. So we'll be working on that, and hopefully he will be a very happy customer at the end of the day. We also don't only do software and diagnostics, it's a full-fledged shop, so he'll also be coming to get his trailing arms replaced, and I think it is the lower left rearward control arm also. So that will also be done. If I can drop some video footage of that, then I will. So that is a job well done from us today. There's not really much more to it. This is just us going through the ABL to make sure that everything with that SAE fault code that was done is properly checked. And as I said, after we cleared codes and it came back, we drove for 5 minutes, came back, checked with ISTA again, code is non-existent. It is not there. The only codes that returned was for the FEM and the TCB. So that was that for this job. When the customer comes back for an update for the other modules and also to get the head unit updated and the navigation updated, then we will also do a video on that. So it is that we can get that uploaded here so you can see how we go about doing that kind of thing. So thanks for watching. Like, share, subscribe, and contact me if you do have any vehicular issues.